Hi. So today I'm going to try and show how to go through a template I made to build a custom character card for Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'm interested in making a bunch of DC characters because I already play the Batman miniatures game. Some of them, like Bane, are conveniently already on 40mm bases. So assuming I have an opponent that doesn't mind that sort of thing, I should be able to play some games, and I'd like to kind of share this tool with the community. I'm sure there's a bunch of characters people would like to make rules for. So this is a character card I created. Here is an image of an existing card. There are some inconsistencies. The color matching isn't quite there. And yeah, mine doesn't look anywhere near as professional. But I think it passes. It's certainly legible. I did my best to kind of follow the language that's used on actual Marvel Crisis Protocol cards. I think this tool could make some passable cards. This image comes courtesy of the Marvel Crisis Protocol database, MCPD. I should just put a link. I will. Highly suggest that if you are going to make your own card, make sure you page through as many heroes as you can of a similar threat level. And make sure that what you're doing isn't blowing anything out of the water that already exists. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go through the steps here. First off, I use an SVG file, which I edited with Inkscape. Pretty sure you want to use Inkscape yourself when you're editing it. There might be other editors that can deal with it. Pretty sure if you import it into Photoshop, you won't be able to edit any of the text. I used Inkscape because it's free. They've got Linux, Windows, Mac. I use Windows. I can't tell you if there are known issues with any other ones. It's pretty decent. So yeah, so there's Inkscape. So go here, download it, current downloads. It's pretty straightforward. Once you've installed it, go ahead and open up Inkscape. I have a drive that I'm going to share with people that includes both the card that I've made for Bane and the template. So once you're in there, go ahead. I'm just going to open recent, but you'll have to navigate from your own file directories. So wherever you save it to your computer, you'll have to open it from there. So this is the character card as a blank. So if you go into layers, if you don't have the layers tab there, you're going to go into layers here. It should pop up somewhere over here. Once that's there, you can open all these up. If you can see, everything is locked right now. That's intentional. Only one thing is invisible. I'll get to that later. This unlocked thing, special symbols. So every time you need a special symbol, you're going to need to copy it from here and then just drag it to where you need it in the text. I suggest leaving 4 spaces. I kind of describe that here. If you leave 4 spaces, drag one of these symbols over, it should look about right. So first thing I want to do is actually put in some character art. So I went ahead, Phil Cho has done a whole bunch of character art, just kind of like that 3/4 or straightforward position. I think it fits okay with the Marvel Crisis Protocol. So you can either hit Control-I or import. Once you've done that, you need to find your file. So here I've got Bane by Phil Cho. So I import that in. Looks like it's a little too big, so I'm going to go ahead and scale so I can do object transform. Again, we'll bring that up. Once you've got it up, you should be able to just click on it over here in this little tab. Scale. I like to scale it down by 5% at a time, so I just enter in 95 there. Scale proportionally, and I'm just going to spam that button. Get him to a size that seems about right. So that's good for me. If you notice, there is a transparent background here. You can take artwork and put it to a transparent background here in Inkscape. It's a little bit of a pain, but it's definitely doable. I actually used Photoshop. I'm not going to show you how to do that because, again, the whole intention here is that you can avoid using a program that costs money using this template. So I've got my character. I'm going to go ahead and lock that. What I did while I was moving it around was I turned off this healthy background here. Once the healthy background is off, you can see where the actual borders of the document are. Later on, we're going to export page, so that's kind of important to do. So turn that back on. Now I can see this is kind of set up. Next most important thing probably be saving, or yeah, actually we should do that. So maybe early on, you don't want to mess up your template. So save as, I'm going to save this as Bane example, and I'm going to put that into my work in progress folder. So now I have a different file than the template that you hopefully want to keep around to make more of later. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and go into this names. So you got to click that little button to unlock it. Names, make sure you click on this text icon over here. So there we go. His name's Bane and his alias is unknown. So I'm trying to stick to the templating as much as I can of existing things. One of the more important things, so we've got a name, we've got this. There's another name that we desperately need to add in here, and that is the artist credit. So go down here to this artist credit, and we're going to enter in. I don't think that there's, I mean, nobody's selling these things or probably even using these things anytime soon, but you know, if you didn't do the art, make sure you credit the guy who did. So base stats are kind of easy to change around. So you just open up this folder. You actually don't need to unlock anything. Just select the health that you want. So say you thought Bane was a wimp, you wanted to make him 3 health, you make that 3 visible and hide everything else. And now he is 3 health. So everything more or less works like that. So once you have the threat that you want, the height that you want, size, all of these, you can go ahead and move on to your attacks. So right now, energy is visible. I probably don't want that. I probably want physical, so I'm going to hide that energy and show this physical attack. If I want to edit that, I'm going to need to unlock the entire attacks folder. So if I unlock that and then unlock physical attacks, now I can manipulate this. Most characters have a pretty simple first ability. We can stay consistent with that. Makes sense for Bane. We're just going to edit that to say strike as well. There we go. Forgot to unlock the attack name. So there we go. Change this to strike. This is Comic Sans. It's actually the closest thing I can find without having to like pay for a font. I don't want you to have to pay for a font. If you want to change it to something else because Comic Sans hurts your soul, that's fine. I'm not offended. So there's your strike. Here's your range. Most melee attacks are range 2. We'll keep it that. Strength 5. Sure. Power. All of these things are editable. If you're worried about clicking on something else and kind of like messing up, like right now, if I'm trying to edit this and I click through and accidentally move that, you know, you can edit undo. But just to make sure that that's not an issue, I would just lock the background when you're dealing with these things. We can go ahead and open up description. If you can see here, there's 5 lines. I did that because Inkscape is a pretty decent vector editing software, but it's not great text editing software. So I kind of had a minimum spacing I could do, and that didn't really match the existing Crisis Protocol cards. So I just made each one a line and manually moved them into place. You can move them around if you need to. I'd suggest keeping them about here. But yeah, you can just edit this. So say I wanted to put in a standard wording, you know, I might go back to that Crisis Protocol database and look at a card. So after this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to damage dealt. That's the standard wording. It's my goal to create cards that really, like when you put them on the table, I don't want my opponent to be like scratching his head trying to figure out what's going on here. So after this attack is resolved, I believe was the language. And here I would need a symbol, so just 4 spaces. Probably not going to have enough space for the word equal. Nope. So I'll just go to the next line. Again, 4 spaces to do that. So now we've got this. Go to our selection tool instead of our text editing tool. So we're going to say character gains power equal to, you know what, make sure you copy them. You might need the power symbol later on, and you want to make sure that it's still there for you. So copy, paste, Control-C, Control-V, or right-click on it, whatever you are most comfortable with. So equal to damage dealt. So now we've got like half of strike. You know what? It does kind of help. Actual cards have a little bullet point here. I don't know that we can make a bullet symbol. So instead, we're just going to make a black circle. If you go up here, you can edit it to make sure it's the exact size you want. I'm just going to say 0.4 by 0.4, enter. So now I kind of have my bullet point. Again, I'm going to copy paste that because I know that this third line is going to start my next phrase. So just kind of go through how it would be done here. I'm just going to leave myself 4 spaces for the wild symbol because that's how a lot of our special effects are triggered in this game. So I leave myself 4 spaces, and then I say, we'll go ahead and say throw here. You would look up the standard text for throw, type in the rest of it. What I would show you is that at this point, I would highlight this. I haven't found a font that I actually like that much. I'm using Gill Sans Condensed. That does match the rest of it, but the bold for this I don't think matches the bold font used. So that's kind of as good as we've got right now. Once you continue, you'll change back to Gill Sans MT Condensed. Again, if you find fonts that you like better or you think more closely resemble actual cards, go ahead and use those. This is just the template that, using the free fonts I could find, works for me. So that's how you edit an attack. Once you want to make a second attack, you can make sure that everything you made is unlocked and that the other attacks are still locked. So energy is locked here, mystic is locked here. Everything in this physical attack is unlocked. So from here, I want to just grab everything and let's see here. There we go. See, I'm not actually copying the physical symbols and the text backgrounds because I didn't unlock those. Now we've got everything. I can copy paste that and try and set it directly underneath the above one. Now I can rename, well, let's undo. There's a smarter way to do this. So if I actually right-click this and duplicate the current layer, I can create a whole new set of things that I can rename. So maybe I want to rename this one Backbreaker. Okay, we're going to make a second attack. This one will probably end up costing power, so we'll end up editing this here. But now that it's made, I want to lock the original physical attack, grab this, like I was talking about doing before, and move it down. Now I've got 2 folders for my 2 physical attacks, and I did that by copying the previous physical attack folder. That's something that you'll have to repeat for superpowers. I'm not going to do the whole creation of the card in this video. I just wanted to show, how you would edit each step. So let's file, open. I realized something here. I believe I may have opened the wrong folder. So let's open this one. I think I may have a few versions of this sitting around. Nope, I do not. Well, let's see how this is. So we're going to go into, let's close this and get back to where we were. So I did clean up a few mistakes that were in an earlier version of this, but I may not have saved properly. So let's close this, and open this one, and open this one. All right, all of these are actually missing the subfolder for cost. Actually, only 2 of them are. I'll go ahead and add that in now and hopefully edit that out before you guys get to it. So unlock this superpower, take a look at my background. I'm going to grab this and move it a little over, which will give me enough space to insert a new layer, and we'll just call that cost. So now I'm going to open my text editor. Most of the numbers for this game, they use a font very similar to Agency. So open that up. Escape. All right, let's try this again. So we're going to write in our cost folder, and we're just going to say 3. It's already in Agency, which is good. We're going to change that to bold, and we are going to go ahead and increase the font to 11. So it's nice and visible. And there we go. This cost folder will exist by the time you guys open. It'll be in the active and reactive, and I will delete out the power symbol because it doesn't need to go there for innate and leadership abilities. Once you have it, it works pretty much just like all of the other ones did. You're just going to, click in here, edit your text. That's pretty much all you need to know how to use this. You may find Inkscape a little frustrating if you haven't messed with any image editing software. But I really did try to make it so that everything was pretty straightforward. If you're just having a really hard time navigating, selecting the things you want to select, I would suggest just watching a few basic Inkscape tutorials. They can probably help you out more than this little suggestion did. But yeah, that's how you can make some character cards. And again, I know the background isn't perfect, but I think you look at it and it looks like a Marvel Crisis Protocol card. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope that we start seeing some more fan-made stuff out there. I know a few people had templates, but not everybody has access to Photoshop, so I was seeing a decent number of people kind of writing out all the text that you would need for a card and then asking somebody else to do it. Hopefully this way more people are kind of empowered to make their own fan-made cards. There's the damage side by Bane. Again, do want to emphasize, please credit the illustrator, whoever it may be. Yeah, I don't know. Happy creating, I guess.